I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated, walking down this blood-stained road, but I still kept on going. Suddenly Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but black, the screen with the text saying, "Found you!" I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was in panic, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. This time, that high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1's final boss was playing. Was it some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in black, pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit, and that terrible laugh went off again, and Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again. And then I made him punch again. Sonic vanished, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and even I felt I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles and the screen went black with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for about 3 seconds. Another message appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Wouldn't you agree? The heck? Just, what is going on? I think to start, Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles and the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray, his dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are the actual characters trapped in those TV screens and the save files. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap. I wish I hadn't. Because I then began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in a pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given by a lamp that was hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," and "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as I then heard Sonic laugh. His laugh sounded more like a distorted Kefka laugh. "You're a lot of fun to play with, kid, just like your friend Kyle." Though he didn't last long. I was scared and looked around for the source of the voice. "Won't be long now until you join him and all of my other friends." I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out in several directions. "You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others." When he grabbed me, I saw his bleeding black and red-eyed, grinning face. I woke up with fright. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on my computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik. I still thought that it was wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title appeared again, and this time it said ... which I found really freaky. This time, I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't really look like it from any of the classic Sonic games, though it has the pixelated style. The floor was shiny and checkered. The walls were a dark grayish purple with animated candlelights, a few blood stains here and there and there was a dark red curtain hanging above on the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant, a piano playing a rather sad, yet a peaceful song, but I knew better. This was a song that played in Hell Act 1, only it wasn't in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous as Tails and Knuckles did, but he had a suspicious look on his face, as if it was just a bit paranoid. He did a lone animation when I just left him standing. He turns his head to the left, then to the right, at least twice, then shrugs at me, as if he had no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He did his usual running animation, when he gets big and Sonic classic game. As we continue going through the hallway, Then I stop at a long flight of stairs leading downward. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure to himself, though I pressed onward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls have gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches are now an eerie blue. Then he had landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least I felt like. And then he headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much longer, though it took at least one full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again. The music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more dark red and the torches were black flame now. When Robotnik landed onto the third hallway, I noticed he now looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped out right in front of Robotnik, the same way he did with Knuckles. Then red static. The red static lasted about 15 seconds, and it showed me a most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic Sonic standing in the darkness where you can only see his face, with his head and torso faded into black. When I say hyper-realistic, I mean like he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as if you could actually feel the fur as you touched the screen. His face. Oh God, he had the most horrifying smile I had ever seen. And that's saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the screen. His eyes were wide and black, and once again, crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic. There were two small glowing dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the sides of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs. Very sharp fangs. Much like the Warhog's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish from the look of it. It had stains of blood, small bits of flesh on his lips, and fangs as if he ate some animal. I stared at that gruesome image for a good 30 seconds. Never taking my eyes off of it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face! It just took 10 seconds for it to etch myself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again, 3 times, and on the 3rd time I heard that Kefka laugh, except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. Went back to that image again, except this time there was a text again. Though it was messed up, but I was pretty sure one of the most horrifying things I looked at since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read that message while looking at Sonic when I realized it. I realized right there and then. Sonic was a monster. A pure, evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster. And all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys, and the game is the very gateway to his chaotic, nightmarish world, that very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, a natural split second, I heard Sonic lunge at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted. So loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped. It showed nothing but black screen. As it sat there, staring at the black screen, one last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kefka laugh, now sounding more clear, as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times as I looked at this text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu. This time the third save file had a TV screen for Robotnik in the same tormented state as Tails and Sonic. Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray. His muscle drooped and he blackened. His glasses broke and his blood coming from them. He had a mere dead-like expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik. I cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they were going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be. The computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on, no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what just had happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one. Then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game. Literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you, always, as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. I turned around to see where the voice came from. What I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling, with blood stains under his eye.